It's fantasy football draft weekend, and we got another fantasy football battle to look at. Today, we're going to see whether or not you want Matthew Golden or Emeka Egbuka in your draft. We're going to go over the advanced analytics, their situation, their history, and everything else. Before we dig in, though, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're talking about these players every day. We're going to have these battle videos with the top waiver wire prospects from week 1 to week 17 plus. On top of that, we're going to have waiver wire videos every single day to help you find those hidden gems. We're going to help you set those lineups by looking at the matchups and plus deep dives. Click that button. Stop missing out so you can win your leagues. But we're starting off looking at Matthew Golden and Emeka Egbuka. 2 first-round wide receivers, 2 wide receivers that's going to be on the field week 1. Rookies, and they're very cheap in drafts right now considering they're first-round wide receivers with some upside and offenses with good quarterback play that's going to push the ball around. So looking at these 2 wide receivers, we have an interesting dichotomy. You might even be able to swing for both wide receivers if you want to do it. But Matthew Golden, 4-star wide receiver, ranked 25th in the class, 26 offers. Big schools after him, medium-sized schools after him. Interesting career nonetheless. Emeka Egbuka was a 5-star, top wide receiver in his class. 35 offers. Alabama, Auburn, Ohio State, big schools, small schools. Everybody wanted Emeka Egbuka. Coming out of high school, Matthew Golden had an interesting career because we did not really blow up until Texas. However, we were dealing with injuries while we were at Houston. And then when you look at Texas and what he did on the field, even though he didn't go nuclear numbers-wise, go look at that game at Georgia. Go look at some of his tape there. Very nasty wide receiver. Emeka Egbuka, record setter at Ohio State. 1,100 yards in 2022, 1,000 yards in 2024. It's easy to note here that he played with some elite talent at Ohio State, having to fight for reps, and still was able to be productive, dealt with some injuries as well. He played with Marvin Harrison Jr., he played with some of the top wide receivers to ever come out, and Emeka Egbuka was still able to get it done with 2 double-digit touchdown seasons, 2,000-yard seasons to his career. That is something to pay attention to. Emeka Egbuka can also be dominant. Even though he's playing with dogs on the field, he can still eat, and he can still eat in a major way against good competition. Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, 100 yards hung on them. Notre Dame, Michigan State, Oregon. When it's time to shine, Emeka Egbuka comes out. Matthew Golden, not a decorated career like Emeka Egbuka. We did go off against Georgia, Arizona State. We did well in the playoffs. Went off on some smaller schools. Went off against Texas there. But this is a wide receiver that did not get the same opportunities. But still, there's some goods to his game. There's some goods to his game that could allow him to hit for fantasy football. You look at him, he runs a 4.29 40-yard dash. Killed at the combine. Was explosive, catching all types of buzz. Emeka Egbuka was drafted ahead of him at 119 versus 123. The Bucs look at Emeka Egbuka and say, hey, we're taking him over Matthew Golden. Egbuka decided to stay for the 2024 season. Prior to that, he was considered a first-round draft pick by the media. A lot of the Buckeyes stayed another year to chase that natty, which they got. He did the same, and he's a decorated route runner, just like Golden, but different. Golden's got speed. He's twitched up. Good route runner, short, intermediate, deep ball. Can stop on a dime. Emeka Egbuka, very cerebral. Physical with the ball in his hand, can get you that yak. Tough hands, dependable, a dependable playmaker. You look at their situations, both of them are very interesting here. Matthew Golden, talent-wise, is the man here. You're looking at Jaden Reed, that's the vet everybody's looking at. Romeo Doubs will be out there on the field. They like to spread the ball around in this offense. Golden will be out there on the field. He's legit. And he's been looking like the wide receiver 1 on this team at training camp. The Bucs have been banged up. Chris Godwin, banged up. You're also looking at McMillan. He's not going to be out there. He's going to be on IR. Mike Evans is going to be the trusted veteran. You got Tez Johnson trying to get some reps out there. You got some interesting prospects that could get some targets here and there in this offense. However, Emeka Egbuka is in line for a lot of work during the start of the season. And you're looking at Jaden Reed versus Mike Evans. It's just different, totally. Mike Evans is a stud. Older wide receiver, 32 years old. He could miss some time this year, and if it's early, that means Emeka Egbuka is the number 1 wide receiver on the team. Jaden Reed is not near the prospect, no matter how you try to stretch it, to Mike Evans. Mike Evans is a wide receiver 1, where Jaden Reed's just a good wide receiver out there, can command targets in the slot. Evans is going to get a good target share. He's probably going to get double-digit targets a game, probably 10-ish, somewhere around that range. He's safe as long as he's healthy and on the field. Jaden Reed will be out there after he gets out of that boot and is out there practicing and playing. He was in a boot here recently. That is something to note. Romeo Doubs is a wide receiver that can stretch it downfield, get some of those deep balls, can splash here and there. Nowhere near the talent level of a Golden. Just nowhere near that. Golden should beat him out in targets, especially consistency, especially once he's ramped up. Chris Godwin, something to pay attention to. He's hurt, he's banged out, might be week 5 or later when he comes out there. So Emeka Egbuka is going to be getting opportunities, but Godwin, when he does come back, he can be productive, he can steal targets. This is a wide receiver you need to pay attention to when you're spending this type of draft capital. When you're looking at the offenses here, the Packers did not have a 1,000-yard wide receiver last year. The targets, though, spread around. 20% target share for Doubs, 16 for Reed, 16 for Wicks, 13 for Watson. Watson's been banged up off and on throughout his entire career. They want that speed. They got that with Golden. Golden's going to take the top off. So what you saw with Watson, Golden can do plus much, much more. Golden's a much better prospect. Wicks got a 16% target share, 76 targets in this offense. I get it, players in and out, all that stuff. But they will spread the ball around. Love does not care who you are. He will target anybody, which is good for Golden because he's going to be able to earn reps early in his career. But it could also play in line like he could just flatline at just a 20 to 25% target share and not hit that 25 to 30% range and become an elite wide receiver. You're looking at Emeka Egbuka in this offense. Chris Godwin out. That's 27% of the targets out. Gone off the rip. Jalen McMillan got 13% of the targets last year. Gone off the rip. Sterling Shepard, Trey Palmer, you're looking at the other ancillary wide receivers here. They got targets, but they drafted a first rounder because they were sick of what they already had. Wide receivers getting banged up. They need something to deal with this attrition, and now he will be getting targeted over those guys. Mike Evans can take on more work, but not too much more work. Like, he can get to around 30% target share, but it's very insane to see a wide receiver push to 40, so 6% more of a share. That could happen for Mike Evans. So there's a lot of pie here for Emeka Egbuka to eat, especially the start of the season with him being a first-round prospect, the good route running. He's very dependable, smart player. Baker Mayfield's been saying good things about him. You're also looking at the pace of play of these two teams. They're very similar. Percentage-wise, passing rates, Green Bay 54%, Tampa Bay 58%. You're getting a higher rate here when you're looking at things overall. Plays per game, 64 for each. And you're looking at the draft capital. Gamers are saying they like Emeka Egbuka better. They're liking the situation. They like him better because he was drafted earlier in the first round. Matthew Golden's not getting much shine from camp. The Packers are quieter. I have dug up some clips from camp. Check those. That's been a few weeks ago. Matthew Golden's been looking like the wide receiver 1 for this team. He's missed some balls and stuff like that. That's keeping the price down. He looks like he's going to be the wide receiver 1 for this team. I look for him to have his moments this year. Same thing with Emeka Egbuka. I think these are going to be two very good rookie wide receivers that's going to have some production this year for fantasy football that you may want to take advantage of. Also, with Emeka Egbuka going earlier, that makes him more risky compared to a round cheaper with Matthew Golden, and also 3 wide receivers down the board when it comes to draft. On top of that, you got a bunch of other running backs and everything else mixed in there. You're looking at the ADPs. Emeka Egbuka's been a later riser due to the roster being clogged, the depth chart being clogged at wide receiver, and that could play out to be like that once we get deeper into the season. Week 10 or so, it could be a mess where Matthew Golden could be just earning more work and being more safer. But to fight against that, Emeka Egbuka could earn it off the rip and just be the guy, be the wide receiver too. Godwin comes in, and Baker Mayfield just kills it for the year. Matthew Golden, no matter what, he's going to be out there. Unless he gets hurt, he's going to be out there. He's going to be siphoning touches, somewhere around a 20% target share this year. Saw that last year with the other wide receivers. The wide receivers out there on the field were getting a 16 to 20% target share because the Packers have the carousel effect where any wide receiver on any given week can get it. You can chase the recent target shares, but it still doesn't matter once you're in game, and it could be even crazier if it's a good matchup with a 50 over-under where the ball's just flying. Who are you drafting? Who are you drafting between these two players? I like Emeka Egbuka. I think the talent's better. I like both these two players. I have that on wax on this channel. I like them both. I think Matthew Golden's very underrated in terms of process, buzz, and everything else from the fantasy football community. I think people are too scared to put a claim on him. I think he could be a big thing for the Packers. I think he can be huge. I think Emeka Egbuka's in line to blow up early if everything goes according to plan, if he plays well. I think Matthew Golden could be your surprise play here. I'm leaning Emeka Egbuka, but not too hard. I think Matthew Golden could be a huge surprise play here. That's the thing about this. I would not be surprised if he does beat out Emeka Egbuka and proves me wrong. But I'm not too heavy on one side or the other. But I would go Emeka Egbuka to give you an answer. The thing about this is one of these two guys are going to blow up. It could be both. It could be both. I think Golden's going to at least get a 20% target share, and he's going to have a good 8-eye. He's going to get some deep balls. I think in the right matchup, he's going to have some big weeks. I think Emeka Egbuka's in line to get a good target share as well to start off the season. I think things could get messy, though, in the back end of the season. I like them both, though. I like them both, but I like this thought process to really push me and how I think about these players. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.